what a wonderful thing this is. You know, I can't believe that we are interviewing one of the most famous men in Massachusetts on Channel 5, Chronicle.
Very much
Anthony
show.
Everett, and boy, I can't believe that we have an Everett back in Everett.
Well, it's good to be back in Everett, and I can't believe I am honored enough to be here being interviewed by the two of you, two top-notch professionals.
Yeah. Well, we're older but wiser, but I don't know how much wisdom we've given to the world. But,
sounds to me like you have plenty.
But you know, thanks to Lorraine, who's going to be 90 next week.
Happy birthday in advance, by the way.
And
Thank you, God willing.
she's been able to, I don't know what it is about it, get dignitaries like you and the people that we've had in the past. It's a wonderful honor. I know how busy you are.
I'll tell you, I know that I'm following in some wonderful company. I know you've had Bob Lobel and Chet Curtis and Mish Michaels and a whole host of other...
Johnny Pesky.
Johnny Pesky, a whole host. And it's a tribute to Lorraine, because not only is she extraordinarily nice on the telephone, which I think is what helps her land those interviews,
I would have never got you.
she's also persistent. In a good way.
How many years is about a year and a half?
I think about a year and a half since we first
just
talked.
couldn't get together.
Well, and we tried. It wasn't for
Yes.
lack of trying. It was just dates didn't work out, and we finally did it because you were so good about getting back.
Yeah.
No,
You were
I
great.
I couldn't believe it. I said, God bless him. He called me at night and said to me, you know, I can't come Monday, but I'll come whenever. And I said, Thursday, without even thinking.
Well, we talked so much, I think my wife started to wonder who Lorraine was. Who's this Lorraine you keep calling all the
She
time?
don't have to sweat me.
Well, you're finally here, and we would like to compliment you on all the interesting shows that you have put on.
Very
you.
good show.
If you'd like to
Very
reminisce
informative.
and let us give us an idea. I know you interviewed the man that makes drumsticks.
We've done, you know, Chronicle is a unique program,
It is.
especially in this time and place of broadcasting, where we find that, you know, more and more people are getting their information from the internet. Less and less of them are getting them from television, their traditional channels, and from newspapers, for example. But Chronicle has something that no other station really has.
That's correct.
And you really can't get it anywhere else. And that's what we pride ourselves on, is finding the interesting people and places around New England and around the world, for that matter, who you might not meet otherwise. And to me, that's just a glorious part of the job. I like to meet people.
That's like everyday people. That's what you like. You know what I liked Monday night was that you had the stores in Vermont or Maine or somewhere. They're all playing instruments. And
Oh, it was one of Peter Mehigan's shows.
That was like having a party when I was growing up.
Well, we hear that so often from our viewers, which is they appreciate the fact that we're taking them places they either may have been or they may never go.
Yeah.
And they like the fact that we bring that into their living room every night, something that they can see and experience in some way in their own home. And I think particularly in these times when the economy is rough and maybe people aren't traveling the way that they used to, that we provide a little comfort food every night at 7:30.
And you grew up without television, and that's how we used to get together growing up, you know, and the relatives would come at something and we'd harmonize or sing.
My group has been playing at Indian Head for years, and you had a program just recently about the White Mountains and Indian Head. And
the White Mountains, Indian Head,
the Indian
loss
Head
of the
Resort.
Old Man of the Mountain.
That's right,
Actually,
yeah.
we're up there right now. In fact, we're at Loon Mountain in Lincoln, New Hampshire. We're doing a whole nother show on that area. I mean, one of the things we find is that after being on the air for 27 years, which is kind of hard to believe, the longest running locally produced news magazine in America.
Is that amazing?
And we produce around 150 new shows every year, which is far and away what anybody else in the country
That is amazing.
Everything is different, no repetition. It's just a wonderful show.
Oh, well, you're very nice. But it's a lot of work. We have a lot of great producers who go out and find some great stories. We've got a lot of great reporters and anchors, I think, which is wonderful. And we've been very blessed to have this kind of a run in TV. It's difficult to sustain yourself for 27 years.
It's amazing that they can still keep it going with the expense of everything. Of course, I know a lot of celebrities get $5 million a year. I don't think your pay is up.
No. And if our general manager is watching, he's laughing right now.
But you know, it isn't the amount of money. Even now, at this age, when I play music, I don't care about the money. To get out and work with other musicians is I says, I don't, whatever the money is, that's it. I don't
Well,
care.
it's about your passion, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and if
of
you're
course.
passionate about your work, it makes it a lot more fun to get up every morning and go to the office.
Well,
And
I
think
worked with.
we are.
I was working with John Alessi lately, and he just took a stroke, and a slight stroke, and he can't play. Hasn't been able to play for a few months with us, but he'd been doing the Armory dance with us at Everett.
Well, it's a reminder that we should all enjoy every day
Oh,
that we have,
yeah.
right?
But he's over 90, so he had a good run.
Well, you guys are having a good run. What is it, 12 years here
12
on this
years,
program?
yeah,
You're
yeah.
going to
Oh,
give
no.
us a run for our money. You're going to give us some competition on Chronicle.
Oh.
I want you to do well, but not too well.
There's no fear of that. You guys have got a fabulous show.
They do.
Yeah.
It's
Do you,
amazing.
did you come from around Massachusetts?
Actually, I was, it's a sort of a long story, but I'll give you the short version. I was born and raised in New York City, actually, but I came to Tufts University to go to college. And when I came to Massachusetts, I fell in love. Not just with the people of Massachusetts, but the geography, the fact that you could be close to the ocean, but also have access to the mountains, which is
Yeah.
the kind of outdoor lifestyle that I like. And I always said when I was here at Tufts that I'd like to come back and live here. And so I left Tufts and lived in Colorado for a time, for about 4 years, and then came back and to Connecticut for about a year and a half with my second job in broadcasting, and then came up to WCVB in Boston, and I've been here ever since. So really, I say I first came here in 1979 when I came to college, but
And did you meet your wife here?
we met in Colorado, actually, when I
Oh.
was working out there, my first job in television. And she was kind enough to, only my girlfriend at the time, but to move back east when I moved back east.
Oh,
and
that's
we ended
wonderful.
up getting married. And,
Good.
yeah, and being
Yeah.
together to this
And that's
day.
what you took up, communications.
Colorado was my first job, a very small radio and television station. I started as a sportscaster. I had really no broadcasting experience, and they were looking for someone to do both radio and television sportscasting. But I had been the editor-in-chief of the daily newspaper at Tufts University, so I had some journalism background.
Oh, that's
But I
great.
really had no broadcasting experience, and fortunately they were just starting out, so they didn't really care that much about that. So despite the fact that I really wasn't very good, they hired me, and I decided to stay with it. I was actually applying to law school at the time and waiting to hear back on my law school acceptances, and then I got in some places, but ended up deciding, you know what, I like this television thing a little better. It's really
Did you
fun.
start out as a news reporter?
Started with sports,
And
but
in
I moved
Boston.
into news pretty quickly. Actually, in Colorado, I only did sports for about a year and a half, and then I became news anchor there. I felt it was, for me personally, as much as I love sports, I'm a big sports fan. I just felt there was more opportunity, and for me, a little more satisfaction doing news than there was doing
news, yeah.
sports. Yeah.
No, you do well. I always wanted to be in journalism, but I said, well, it just dawned on me the other day, I said, that's close to journalism.
You're in journalism.
But I grew up in the Depression, so who could do any better? You know,
Well, you've done just fine. You're like the Barbara Walters of Everett now, isn't that
Oh,
right?
yeah. Well, you know, it's amazing, as small as we are, just in the city, how many people will see us and they'll say, I know you. And then they say, oh, we saw you on television. But nobody ever asks us for our autograph. You know, I can't believe that.
No. Well, people come up to me and they say, I know you, and I say, well, that and about $3.50 will buy you a cup of coffee at Starbucks.
But it's been a good thing being of service to the city and having to be associated with people. And you have done so much in your program, you know, with all the different subjects.
Well, I think what's nice is that we do a pretty broad variety
Oh,
of
that's
topics.
great.
And it can be, you know, we tackle some serious issues. We've done programs on post-traumatic stress disorder of returning Iraq War veterans. We won an Emmy last year for a program we did on special education and the kinds of pressures that puts on school systems financially. We've done shows on homeless teenagers. We've done shows on medical issues of all stripes. So we do those shows, and I think it's important that we do those shows, but I think most people think of us about those pretty picture shows where we go to Vermont or New Hampshire or Maine and see all these wonderful things, but I think it's important to have the mix. If we just did the wonderful restaurant shows, which we do, or if we just did the great bed and breakfast shows that we do, I think that wouldn't be enough. I think people respect the fact that we do a little bit of everything, and so on any given night, you know, someone might tune in and say, well, I don't really want to watch that, but over the course of a week, a lot of people will find something that they like.